Is my screen visible, guys? Okay. Yeah. So in this session, we're gonna discuss about the types of the array. So we have two types. First one is a single dimensional array and the second dimensional array. Inside the multi-dimensional array we have, inside the multi-dimensional array, you will see the 2D array and the 3D array. Single dimensional array we have already discussed yesterday. Now in this session, we discuss about the two-dimensional array. So consider now you have a requirement just like you want to store the data in the form of tables, just like a rows and the column. Like this format you want to store the data and you want to store the value, then you just simply have to use the two-dimensional array. It may be a 2D or it may be a 3D. Okay, so two-dimensional array we need to use. So array is having a rows and column is known as a multi-dimensional array. Okay. Yeah, and here in the second line, it is saying these are also known as a array of arrays. That means why we are saying it's an array of arrays, because here this is nothing but the array only. Okay, it represents the array. This line it's representing the array, and inside that you will see the another array. So this curly braces is representing the array, and this one is a main array, and inside that you are seeing the another array. So these are nothing but the array within the arrays is known as a multi-dimensional array. Okay, yeah. So here now consider here I just simply want to store the value in this 20 in the second. What is this? This is the second column. That means it's the first column and the zeroth row. This is the zero and this is the first row. Here we have a zero column, first column and the second column. If I want to store the element inside this, then we have to take the zeroth row, and which one is the row, which one is the column, first column. Okay, so now when you will access this one, then only you can able to store this 20, otherwise not. So in this format we want to retrieve the element. If you want to retrieve, still you have to define this 0 and the 1, then only you can get this 20. Or if you want to add the value, that means element inside this rows and the column, then you have to follow this way. So firstly, so this we have when we have created, so we have provided the name, it may be a array. Okay, after that once you have defined this, later that where you want to add in the zeroth row and the first column. So firstly we are defining the row and the second we are defining the column, and later that there we can just define the value. That's it. So inside this array, in the row 0 and the first column we are adding 20. Okay, so here this is nothing but your rows. Okay, and inside this row you will see these are nothing but your columns, and inside the column we are adding a elements. Okay, so this is nothing but it's an index. You can consider this is nothing but the index. It's a zeroth index and the first index. It may be inside your zeroth index you have another array, and this array maybe contain 10, 20 and the 30. Maybe you have first index inside that also same. It has containing 10, 20 and 30. Okay, so like that it works. Now how we can declare? We have a lot of ways to declare it. First of all, if you want to define, then you have to use double square bracket. Okay, and later that you can define the name. Okay, otherwise you can define it like this. You can define the a and two square bracket. That's it. Here we have a lot of ways. Otherwise you can just define integer square two square bracket and the a. But if you are defining the b, still it will consider a and the b are the multi-dimensional array. Okay, so keep in mind whenever you are defining int after that the square bracket, that means this one is your multi-dimensional array. And if you are not defining here semicolon comma and the b, so this b is also considered as a multi-dimensional array. After that, in this way you can also define, like that wise also you can define. First you can define the single, and after that you can define the single. So this one is a single dimensional array, and whatever you will define after the int, it will allocate to your array. So this is also a multi-dimensional now. Okay, yeah, so mostly we'll prepare this one. This is the way we'll mostly prefer. Okay, if you are defining only one only one multi-dimensional array, then you can prepare this way. Okay. Yeah. And at the time of directly, how we can create a multi-dimensional array? So like this way. Int, later that here I'm just defining the name of the array, and here two square bracket and is equals to new, and again we have to define the int and two square bracket. Inside that you have to define the size. So here we'll define the row, and in the second we'll define the column. Okay. So this is the incorrect statement. Why? Because we haven't defined the size. So whenever you will create the array, that time you have to define the size. So consider it may be a 3 or it may be a 3. Okay. But if you are trying to define the same size inside this in the initially, then it will throws the error. Okay, it will throws the error. You have to define after at the last you have to define the size. Okay, that's okay. Yeah. So you can just declare first one like this, and after that you can assign the value. That is also okay. It's not a big deal. And this is called as a jag array. Jag array. Like consider now, maybe you need two rows. So 0 and the 1. Okay, you need two rows. So it may be a 0 and it may be a 1. But in these rows, you need in the first row you need a 7 column. Okay, and the second, that means the 0th row, you need only two columns. Okay, so it's totally depend on you. If you want to increase the column or you want to decrease the column, then you can simply use this jag array. This is the array we need to use. And here it has defining some conditions. So it's compulsory to declare the size of an array at the time of creation, that I have already discussed with you. Okay, and in this way directly you can create a matrix array, that means two-dimensional array. Okay, and this is the jag array. Whenever you will create the jag array, that time don't mention the column, only mention the row. So here we have mentioned the row but not a column. So in the 0th index, now we are adding the four column. In the first row, in the 0th row, we are adding a fourth column. In the first row, we are adding a two column. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll try to create a array. Okay, so this one we have. Okay, this is the thing we have. Now I'm just creating a main method here. Okay, this is the main method I have created. Now just try to create an array. So how we can create an array? You can just simply define here integer array, and here you can mention two square bracket. If you are defining only one, and here integer new, oh sorry, new int, and here you are defining two, then it throws error. Like consider this one is a row, then it represent with the two square bracket, then we have to define two. Okay, so here I have created the array, two-dimensional array with the size. And if you want to assign the size, then if you want to assign the element, then you just simply have to use array. Okay, so how it will create this 2 by 3. So it will create one matrix by 2 by 3. So this 0, this 1, and here 0, 1, 2. Like this wise it will create. Okay, so now we have created. Now I just simply want to assign the value here. I simply want to assign the value here. It may be a 20. How I can add? So we have to take the row 0 and the column 1. Then only we can able to add this 20. Okay, so how we can declare this one? So we need two square brackets, 0 and the first index I need to 0 and the first index I need to store 20. That's it. In the array of 0 and the 0, I need to store 10. Here you see. Now here I need to store the 10. So here we have to pick up the row 0 and the column 0. And we know that this all the tables and everything it has present inside this array. So we have to define like this 0 of 0, and we have to store the 10. The same thing I have done here, and 0 I think it's a 3. So 0 of 2, and I need the 10, 30. Okay. Now that is okay. Now I need to iterate this one. Now I just want to iterate. That means I just want to retrieve the value and I just want to print it. So how we can do that thing? So by using a for loop. By using a for loop, we can do that things. I is equals to 0, I less than, what is the row? First for loop, it represents the row, and second one, it represents the column. So what is the row size? See here, what is the row size? 0 and the 1. Okay, so first we have started the I to 0 only, and it will go to the 1. When it will go to the 2, this condition is false, because 2 less than 2, this condition is false.
Piyush,
Yeah,
I'm trying to call you. Can you please allow the other people also? Somebody is waiting for our
sure, sir, sure, sir.
accept.
Yeah, sorry guys for the delay. Okay. Yeah, so here the first one is represent the rows and second one represent the column. So first for loop I'm just defining int I is equals to 0, I less than 2, and just simply I plus plus. Okay, so what it is happening here is, so I have started the row with the 0 and it will go till 1. When it will go to 2 less than 2, this condition is false. Okay, and second one is for the column. So here we knows that how this condition store, how it is storing these things. So it will store like this. So we have a array, and inside this array, first it will create one main array for the row. This is nothing but the row, and inside that it will create a column. Inside that it will create another rows. So this one is the zeroth row and this one is the first. Here we don't have a second, so this condition will false. And inside this row, we have a columns now. Column, that means we have in the 0 and the 1, we have stored 20. In the 0 of the 0, we have stored 10. So we'll define like this 10, comma 20, comma 30. And here, so it's not define anything, so it's present 0, 0, 0. Okay, so like that wise it's storing. Okay, so we have iterate, we have defined the first for loop for the row, that means for the 0 and the 1, but we haven't defined for this columns, for the 0, 1, 2. We haven't defined it. So how we can define? Come here, int j is equals to 0, and j, it should be go till 3, and j plus plus, because here inside that we have a 0, 1 and 2. Okay, so here we have a 0, this one, this 10 is a 0, 1, and here we have a 2, so we have to go till 3. Here this condition will false. Okay, so now that's nice. Now simply we can print system.out. Here we can print array of 0, sorry, not a 0, because 0 already we have in this I representing the row. Okay, and now we need a j. That's it. You can just define a plus, give the space. Now, how I just want the output is, like, I need the output like this in the form of table. So it won't show like this, but I need a 10, 20, and the 30. So this one is the first row, second row I need here. So it may be a 40, 50, or 60, or it may be print 0, 0, 0. Okay. So I need like this. So that's why I'm removing this print. So first one, it will print the 10, second it will print 20 and 30, and every time it will give the space. And if this for loop is false, then it will come out of this for loop. So once it will come out of this, that means once it will print this line, once it will print this line directly, uh, it will come to this next line. So how it is possible? So we have to define here next line. That's it. We have defined it. Now try to run. here we have to run as and Java application. See, we got 10, 20, 30, and 40. If you want here, by default, we knows the size of the integer, that is 0. 0 is by default size. If you want here some values, then you can just simply copy this, come here and simply paste it. And here you can define 1, 1, and 1. And after that, we have to define one of 0 column, first and the second. That's it. Now again run. See, we got 10, 20, 10, and 30, same. Okay, so but it's a time taking process. Instead of that, you can this is called as a compile time declarations. So instead of that, you can just use a runtime. So how we can do that things? So here I'm just simply defining the array 1. Just for the example, array 1 I have defined. Now you can simply use two curly braces. That's it. 1, 2, 3, and here you can just give the comma, semicolon, and here you can define 4, 5, 6. Okay, like that's why you can also define it. Okay, this one I think is good. Integer we have to define here. This one is nice. Okay, now the same thing we need to iterate. So this one we have done by using a compile time declaration. Okay, now we'll discuss about the runtime. Same thing we need to use for integer I is equals to 0, I less than is equals to how many we have. This time we'll take 3. This time we'll try to take 3, 7, comma 8, comma 9. That's nice. So now here we knows that for the row we have a 0th row, first row, and this one is the second row. Okay, so we need 3 here. It will start from the 0 and till it will go to the 3 and it will false the conditions and I plus plus for int j is equals to 0, j less than what we need here also we need a 3. Now why we need a 3 here? Because of we knows that inside this we have a 3. So these are nothing but the columns. So here this is 0th one, this one is nothing but the 0, 2 here we have 1, and here we have a 2. Okay, yeah, you can now you can just define a system.out.println array 1, and inside this array 1 we have to define the I and the j. Save the changes. Same thing we have to define here system.out.println. Save it. Now go over there. Sorry, not here. Here only we have to run. Okay. So it's printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. But here we have a next line. That's why every time it is printing 1 and it's going to the next line. Okay, so we have to define only print. And here you can define system.out.println and just mention. Yeah, now you got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now if I'll just simply want to take the value. See, right now what I have done here is directly I'm just defining the value here. But this is not a good thing. We are directly hard coding, and when you are trying to make any applications or something, or you are defining the logic, that time we do not need to hard code it. Okay, so for that you can just define a variable. So here I'm just defining the rows and it has 4, and here I'm just defining the columns. You can also define 4 here. So if you want, now you can just try it here. Rows, here you can define the columns. That's it. Again you will run, you will get the 0 and the 0 in the fourth rows. Okay, so like that wise you can define. Otherwise you can directly take the data from the user. So for that we need a scanner. We know that scanner is equals to new scanner system dot in. That's nice. We have to import it, java that util dot scanner. And once you will, yeah, import it, now we have to take the row. So enter number of rows. That's it. Enter number of rows. We got it. Now sc dot next int. We have to take the next int. It will return the integer. Okay, so integer it will return. We'll take as a rows. And after that, the same process we have to follow for the columns. System dot out dot println enter number of columns. Enter the number of columns and the sc dot next int, and here we'll get the columns. Okay, now no need to define this rows and the columns. Yeah, now you can mention it. Now this one is good. So what we have done here is we are just asking to user enter the number of rows, and after that whatever user entered, we are accepting the rows in this rows variable. And after that the same we are asking user to enter the columns, and after that this is the column we are storing inside this columns variable, and here we are defining. So first one is represent the rows, and second one it represent the columns. Now you can just try to run it, run as and Java application. So it's ask for the user input first of all, and later that it will execute. Oh, scan we have defined here only, no? Do I have save? Yeah, again we'll run. Yeah, now it is asking just define 3 and 3. Now we'll get it. See, compile time declaration that is 10, 20, 30, and the runtime declarations. The same thing we are getting it. Okay. Now we'll see the JAG array. Now we have already discussed the anonymous array. Now the thing is we have to discuss about JAG array. So JAG array that means, see, consider now you need a number of, you need a fixed rows but dynamic columns. Then in that case you can use a JAG array. Like consider here we have a row 0 and the column, sorry, row 0 and the 1. But here we have a column 0, 1, 2, 3 and the fourth. In the second case, now I need only 2. That means column 0 and the 1 I need. So you can just change it. Okay, so in that case, there is no need to define the column size while you are declaring or creating the multi-dimensional array. No need to define the columns there. So how we can define it? Integer, we know that we are creating two-dimensional array, so it represents the square, two square brackets, and after that equals to new keyword we need. After that here again we have to define the integer. Oh, here you can define the size of the name of the array. So a I am defining, and after that here this represent the rows, and second one it represent the column. So we have to define the rows, but there is no need to define the columns. Okay, there is no need to define the columns here. So just try to create it now. Remove this everything. Okay, so here I'm just defining integer array of is equals to new int. Here you can define 2, otherwise 3. That's okay. So here what I have done, I just simply have defined here rows, not a column. Now how I can define the column? Because we have a rows and based on the rows only, we'll just define the columns. So just take it in array. We know that array we have defined in the zeroth row. In the zeroth row, now I'm just defining the column. So here you have to mention it. So in that case, I'm just defining a three columns. Okay. And the second, in the first row, in the first row, I need a four array of two, and here I need integer, just define two here. See, we cannot define. If you are trying and just defining three, then it will throws array index out of the bound. Why? Because we already knows that what is the size three, and array is a exclusive. Exclusive that means three minus one. Okay, so what is the size? That is two. Two is a size. Why? Because it will start from the zeroth index. So that's why it has exclusive. So no need to mention this three. Okay, that's nice. Now I just simply want to iterate it. But before iterating, well, we haven't assigned any value. So I'm just assigning the value by using a for loop in this case. So just define int count we have is equals to 0 and just use a for integer I is equals to 0, I less than. We know that how we can calculate the length by using a length member and I plus plus. And again I'm just defining a for the j. See, whenever you are using this one is also part of two-dimensional arrays only, so we have to, because we are storing in the form of matrices only, so we need two for loop. First one is for the row, second one is for the column. So here I'm just defining integer j is equals to 0, j is less than array of I dot length. What is the length of the row? So in this case, what we are calculating, what is the length of the row? Here you see array and I. I is nothing but this row. Okay. And inside this row, how many columns we have? So this is the thing we are just simply taking. And once we got it, it will increment by one automatically. And later that will simply store the value. Array of I of j plus and is equals to. I think it's not like that. We are assigning the value, no? That means what we are doing here is inside this zeroth row, now to this column, we are adding a value. So if we are doing like that, then we have to take the 0 and the first 0 and the zeroth row. And there we have to assign the value that is 10. But we already got it. This is nothing but the row and this one is nothing but the column. We already got it. So instead of this 0, just define it I. Define the I here, and instead of this 0, just simply define the j. And we know that only this only this constant, if you are defining the 10, only this constant value, every time it will store to this I and the j. I and the j, it will increment automatically by using the j plus plus and the I plus plus, but this constant value store every time. So instead of that, you can just simply define count. So here I have defined firstly the count 0. Now every time it will increase one by one. Okay, every time it will increase and it will store. That's okay. Now later that is done, now you can just simply print it. How we can print? For printing, another for loop we need to use an int I is equals to 0, I less than. I less than the same thing we need length and I plus plus. Another for loop int j is equals to 0, j less than array of I dot length and simply j plus plus. Okay. Now you can just simply define array of I by j plus give the space, and here we don't need this. That's it. That's done. Now try to run. Try to run it. Java application. Here you see See, in this case, what is happening here? For initially in the zeroth row, we have a three column. In the first row, we have a fourth column. See, here we have defined, no? Firstly, we have defined the three. Secondly, we have defining four. And the last, here we have a two. Okay. So this is about the jack